Hi guys, how's everyone doing today? This is Hero. Aaj bada kem cho? Aaj sab kaise ho? So today I'm discussing the topic of self-control versus insecurity, okay? The reason why I have to bring this up is because it's important. So this kind of stems off of my spirituality versus spiritual ego video. It's important to understand the reasons why we don't do things, right? In a couple of my videos, I think I've discussed the reasons why, being aware of the reasons why we do things. But now it's important to understand the reasons why we don't do things, okay? Okay, so a good place to start here is the 6 Shadripu, okay? In Hinduism, I think in the Bible it's called like the 7 deadly sins or something, okay? But there's basically like lust, anger, arrogance, ego, pride. I forget all of them, but it's these kinds of things, okay? Now, a lot of the times when we don't do things that are associated with these terms, we tend to think that we have all this self-control and all this, right? But in fact, those energies are there. So they're there, but they're getting suppressed out of insecurity, okay? And what happens then is like, yeah, sure, on the surface you're not doing these things, but that energy is still there and it's getting suppressed. And when you suppress something, it bleeds out, okay? As you guys all know from my videos probably, that you want to identify these energies and accept them and feel them for what they are and release them without necessarily acting ungroundedly out of that, lower energy, right? Now, here's where I'm going to give a couple of examples. So let's just say anger, okay? I'll take that as an example. So a lot of the times you feel angry, right? And you don't necessarily like lash out, okay? But it's not necessarily because, you're like not, like, okay, let's just say there's a situation where most people would perceive, or where most people would like feel some kind of anger, okay? And you don't lash out, right? Which is, on the surface, that's good. You could kind of rationalize to yourself, and your mind could kind of tell you, oh, hey, we have all this self-control and all this, we're not getting angry, we're staying calm. In reality, what's happening is possibly you are feeling angry, or you do feel anger that you're suppressing and that you're not releasing, not because of self-control or anything like that, but because of insecurity, right? You just don't want to be that person that gets angry or that says something angry and then, everybody gossips about you or something like that, right? So there's some insecurity that's preventing you from, feeling the energies related to this Shadripu, right? Or, one of these negative areas. Now, what I would encourage you to do, like I said, in this situation is make sure that you actually feel the anger if you're getting angry. Now, there's other long-term solutions that you can do here, which I've touched in my other videos, right? Like other detachments and things like that you can do to lower these levels of Shadripu naturally. So, for example, accept the fact that people might embarrass you through meditation, accept the fact that, the world doesn't revolve around you, etc. There's so many things that I've said. But it's important that in these kind of situations to feel that emotion, but feel the emotion, but you don't necessarily have to act out of it. And if you don't act out of it, you need to be really, really aware to make sure that you're not suppressing it. Because if you do suppress it, it is going to come out. And it is going to come out in an area where you're not necessarily feeling insecure. So it's going to come out a lot, and it's most likely going to come out in some situation where it shouldn't. In an environment or a person that you feel comfortable in, most likely, okay? So just keep that in mind. I wouldn't want you guys to make any hasty decisions with somebody you're close to. I'll give another example, right? Lust is a big one, okay? So a lot of the times, let's just say somebody is like, I'm not really interested in anyone, or blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of just, working on myself or whatever, right? This could be the case. But what could also be the case is you actually do feel lust towards other people and things like that. And you're just not acting out of its insecurity, right? Either lack of confidence, whatever the reason is, right? Now, it's important to understand and accept the lust that you possibly do see in others, right? You don't have to act out of it, right? That's a big misconception, right? Just because you feel something, you don't necessarily have to do anything. But it's important to make sure that you feel those things. Because if you don't, it's going to get suppressed and it's going to lash out in some situation that might not be that resourceful for you. Okay, so that's that. Some of the other ones, ego, pride, all these things like that. Make sure that, like I said, you still acknowledge that your ego is thinking these things, right? Your mind, and it's funny because the wind is kind of picking up in the background, but your mind moves like the wind, okay? It's almost impossible to control, okay? But if you do try to control and suppress it, it's just gonna like release whenever it wants, okay? So just make sure that you're not trying to control your mind in a sense that you're letting it be, but you're also not letting it control you, okay? I have other videos on this, so I think I'm just gonna wrap this video up, okay? I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter and shorter, especially if I'm gonna post more frequently. But just recognize that, okay? Any negative feelings, especially if you're not acting out of them, make sure that you're still addressing them in your mind, okay? Especially if you are aware that you're kind of forcing it down, okay? It's okay to address it. It's okay to, feel it. That's actually where the real control is, where, it's there, but you're not doing anything about it when it's there. Now you're trying to shove it down and you're trying to convince yourself that you're feeling something else or something like that, right? And like I said, there are other long-term things that you can do to overall lower your levels of negative energy, right? Like meditation and detachment. And also, a lot of us already have these emotions and things like that built up already, right? Like anger, lust, pride, all these things, right? Arrogance. So what we can do is through meditation, we can slowly start to release things so that on a day-to-day basis, they're not already built up, just ready to go. And, you got to fight so hard to, maintain your ground internally and externally, right? You're already a little bit more calm. When situations happen in your life, you're already, have cleared a lot of the road. So when something does pop up, you're able to handle it in more of a genuine, reasonable manner, right? There's not all this stuff, getting ready and you're just so easily triggered and things like that, okay? So I think that's it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to let me know. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you guys so much for watching.